Alright, this build is skipping to the head of the edit queue because I got a message from Rev saying that he faced this team or a couple of variations of this team and he didn't want to spoil it in his video. If you've been playing customs in the last week or so, you'll have definitely gone against some version of this, as we have the triple Darwin's Fox in this particular round. But ultimately all I wanted was a double Darwin's Fox team. And the main selling point of the team was supposed to be that the real Velociraptor would then give back the fig that the Darwin's Fox uses before it jump attacks. Darwin's Fox is kind of unique in that it's the only jump attacker which can delay a jump attack. So all the other ones go at start of battle. Now you can also delay it using White Truffle, which is the perk that lets any pet become a jump attacker. But it does allow for some pretty interesting interactions, and here you can see what happens that when the ability gets triggered, the foxes shoot the fig before they're even at the front of the team. Here I tried to buy the chocolate one, I don't have enough gold. But since we have a 0 gold lobster frozen, we can actually sell the clownfish and get the warthog inside the beluga. I think I also do have chocolate cake. And chocolate cake allows you to trigger all of the Darwin's Foxes as soon as the first two pets go to attack, which I enjoy very much. And as someone who hardly ever takes chocolate cake, it's nice to have a reason to do it. So it looks like here I'm going to start bringing in the other pets that I need. And I want both Real Velociraptor and the Philippine Eagle. I really wanted this to be a relatively low statted team and to try and win based off the abilities alone. And Philippine Eagle can be pretty good when you get it going. And given that Darwin's Fox can jump multiple times, you can also trigger the Eagle that way. Although I think here Mushroom Nyala, maybe we're going to be okay though. Yeah, definitely going to be okay. So I guess kind of like the perfect opponent there. We really just want a bunch more of them and we should be okay. I also have tomato in the pack, so I want that instead of fig. Although I feel like there were some games where I actually lost because I had tomato instead of fig. Sometimes you just come up against teams that have like white ochre in the backline or potato and so on. I think this is the same person. I don't know if it's the same team or not. But basically exactly what we want to see. And I think, yeah, they end up losing the mushroom on the Nyala this time. So another very good round. And I think, yeah, we scraped the win by 1 HP. Definitely would have lost then if we didn't replace the mushroom there. So I think now it's time to get Real Velociraptor into the squad so we can actually see the combo go off before the game is over. Now pay attention here to see if we actually get the perk back. No, unfortunately this time, because the beluga actually had a perk, it meant that the Real Velo gave it back the fig, which is another good reason for having chocolate cake instead of fig. But you know, sometimes you just don't have the option. This actually might be before I added chocolate cake to the pack. Here's Metis with the level 3 Sunfish team. I feel like that's definitely on my to-do list as a Sunfish team where there are hurt pets in front of it. But this is such a good round where we get loads of activations from the foxes, and then we're also sniping a backline unit, and we take the victory. So 9 wins, turn 15. Pretty low stats. I mean, 22-23 is your highest statted unit on turn 15. Is pretty meager in customs terms these days. I roll down looking for probably just levels on the beluga, but we'll take potato to try and make sure the Real Velo gets to activate. But the problem at this point is going to be that the foxes don't have enough health for them to actually survive. Now here you do actually get to see The fox get fig twice there, but I think because of the weakness, okay, maybe we were going to lose regardless because they had the mushroom eagle. But because we haven't really scaled, we have to face a summon team basically in order for the foxes to get multiple triggers. So yeah, here I don't bother taking both the eagles, we just take the stats. And then I get matched with Suboptimal, who is playing a pretty revolting team in order to get the Chimera Goat achievement, and it's good night. Alright, back to the drawing board, so we move on to the next one. And I had Frogman in the pack as well. And I decided to try and play this more unorthodox team, where we put Frogman inside a Beluga. As we get matched with Rev, playing Axe Handle Hound, you'll love to see it. The Axe Handle Hound does get to trigger because we had 2 frogmen. 3 frogmen, I guess. And we actually lose. So, not the best start. But this setup can actually be pretty good once you get it going. So, once we get the chocolate cake, the Beluga is going to faint. We'll get a high level frogman out of it. And then the Darwin's fox will immediately jump attack and get buffed by both frogmen, even though the second one is right at the front of the team. So you can see it happen here. That's a huge amount of stats for one action. And I think, although they do have the double grizzly here, yeah, okay, we are going to lose. It's actually Carve. Thanks for nothing, Carve. Carve, I think, still probably playing random packs there. So, anytime you lose to him, it's fair play. So White Truffle we're going to freeze and put it on the Behemoth. Now here I was taking the Behemoth for the same reason I always take it, which is hoping that I'm going to be able to transform it into either the Real Velociraptor or the Philippine Eagle. But I think in this game it just never happens and we go down to 1 heart fairly soon, I think, at which point I'm too risk averse to go for the transformation. Not going to bother with stake. Still just want protective equipment for the Frogman. Maybe again Chocolate Cake isn't in this pack, I'm not sure, but we would have to find another Frogman in the shop. And here we get matched with, I think it's Polo, with the different name. You can always tell because of the crown hat and the winter background. But going for the classic seagull with onion to get the Fire Pup achievement, you love to see it. Now we don't really need the Beluga here because if we're going to go for Chocolate Cake, we'll be at level 3 already. So I'm just going to feed more stats to the Behemoth. It is kind of silly seeing the Behemoth jump attacking with a 40-40 stat line. But pretty unfortunate for the opposing team here that their Badger doesn't do enough damage to my squad. Okay, we're just getting force-fed Behemoths by the shop. We finally get the Frogman. Well, maybe I'm not going to take it. Yeah, I guess there isn't a Chocolate Cake in this pack then. I was cycling through a bunch of different versions of the pack to try and give myself the best opportunity. Unfortunately, here we lose the jump from both the Darwin's Fox, although we still do get the double buffs from the Frogman. And you can see how quickly you get up to 50 health with double Frogman like this. Okay, we are going to get another Beluga. Yeah, we'll definitely freeze stake. Since we don't have real Velo, it doesn't really matter too much. Giving equipment. Here's Nick Resney with level 3 Bulldog on turn 16. Probably achievement farming. Probably the first time ever I've seen Bulldog with double Nordic goats. And at this point, obviously, the Behemoth is now beyond 50-50, so if you transform it into something else, it's going to lose a ton of stats. We find a Frogman to be able to buy another chocolate, although really the Frogman scaling at this point is only really relevant on the Behemoth. I also had, the transform foods could have given me the chance to convert the drop bear into another Darwin's Fox, but I think at this point I was willing to just ride this run out because I knew I was going to keep playing until I got something better, exactly the way I wanted it. $76.95 jump attacking is pretty nasty. And I think because we didn't have a good start, we're also at that point where some of the opposing teams, although it is very late, they're also in the same boat, where they're recovering from a losing position. All the very best teams have already won by now. So really the only thing you're super worried about is getting matched with, full 50-50 shop teams where they risked everything and went down to low hearts, but then we're on the comeback trail. Don't think we're going to quite make it to a 100-100 behemoth here. I don't know if I've ever had that on my channel. I'm sure I must have done. I think I did have it in the shop once. So whether or not I actually bought it, I don't remember. But I was briefly thinking here about selling the drop bear just to get the second Darwin's Fox in. And it's one of these buy-sell teams that I absolutely despise. So it doesn't make me too disappointed to be scraping the win here using Behemoth. But we can definitely do better than that. And so, I carried on playing. One of the ways I was trying to get the foxes up to a decent stat line was by taking Yak in the early game. Yak was changed a while ago so that it now gains 2 attack, 4 attack, and 6 attack at different levels, but it takes more damage at the higher levels, which is kind of a strange trade-off because generally you don't need to be gaining 6 attack per turn. You're going to get to 50 attack very quickly. But usually you don't want to be taking more than 1 damage. And of course you can mitigate that with lime or garlic, I guess. But in the end here, I just decided to transform the Yak instead. Since we already have the double Darwin's Fox, we might as well transform it and see if we can get something useful. If we get the level 3 Darwin's Fox from Guinea Pig, that would be perfect. But there are obviously other tier 2s that I would be happy with, like Drop Bear. I was kind of mixing and matching with the different units to try and get the effect I wanted. So we're going to level the Guinea Pig. And I actually get double Quetzalcoatl as well. So I think I'm just going to sell the River Dolphin. Although it is fun having River Dolphin trigger when you have Darwin's Fox on either side of it, the fact that we just get this ridiculous amount of free experience here is going to make it so much easier to get to 2 level 3 Darwin's Foxes. Although I'm not sure I actually had any games where 2 foxes triple attacked in one battle. It's pretty difficult to make that happen. Even with something like Marine Iguana where it auto gives melon, you're just never going to... you're just very rarely going to be in a situation where one pet, especially a weaker pet that doesn't auto gain melon, is going to be able to attack 3 times in one round. Quite a few of these Blackberry Cardinal teams on the go, and we're definitely going to lose to them. But that's okay, we have some hearts intact, so I'm happy just to let Quetzalcoatl carry on buffing these guys. In fact, actually here, I think I should just take both of them. Yeah, we'll use it as scaling. And then once I combine them together, I can Water of Youth or Campeto, or actually Campeto probably wasn't in this pack. I can try and convert the Quetzalcoatl into one of the other units that I need as we get beaten by Amsa there. Okay, we get Platypus, which is nice, but we don't really have space for it. I suppose I could just sell the Guinea Pig. That might be a bit extreme. Maybe I'm just going to take the gold from the Platypus. Or maybe I'm thinking about selling Quetzalcoatl later on. I don't know. If I had sold the Guinea Pig, at least the stats would be guaranteed to go on to the Darwin's Foxes. Pretty funny triple Cyclops team here. You don't see many like that very often. A lot of mana The Darwin's foxes do get to attack a bunch of times and we scrape the win. There's Frogman in shot, but it's really too late to pick him up. I think I'm just rolling for the transform food here and not finding it. Yeah, I really just want to be able to either transform Guinea Pig or transform Quetzalcoatl. Here's our old pal Yogru. And as soon as the Guinea Pig faints, we're going to get to do some big damage to this team, I think. Or maybe not. The Darwin's Fox does hang on with 1 HP, but then the Vulture kills it. But thankfully the Darwin's Fox revenge attack. I suppose I actually haven't mentioned that. I'm almost at the end of this video, but Darwin's Fox was changed recently so that its ability is either to attack the pet that knocked the friend out, or if that pet has also fainted, it will attack the frontmost unit. So in that scenario, the Vulture sniped the other fox, so it automatically targeted the Vulture. And this is a hilarious team here where they're all in on the Tadpole. Kind of unnecessary to have triple Albatross when your Tadpole is basically 50-50 already. So that puts us on 9. We do have the option of transforming the Quetzal here, which I think I'm going to do. Or maybe I'm going to transform the Frigate Bird and try and get triple Darwin's Fox. That would be a little bit on the greedy side, I think. We actually get Drop Bear in the end. So I think I'm just going to buy sell the Platypus for 6 gold, launch a Beaver into orbit, and then we'll go for the level 2 Real Velo. Yeah, okay, so this is the solution I went with here, is that because we can't play the Drop Bear at the front and still have the ability go off, I'm going to put the Real Velo inside the Beluga. So the idea is that, much like with the Frogman earlier, the Darwin's Fox will activate, use the Tomato after the Beluga faints, and then it will get it back. However, that doesn't really work too well when you have to attack a 50-50, because your Darwin's Foxes are just going to faint, like they do here. But all is not lost, because the Drop Bear gets a huge amount of stats from the Philippine Eagle, and we take the victory with the triple level 3 tier 2 there on turn 15. Now, unsurprisingly, this combination produced a ton of ridiculous rounds, so we'll just go through some highlights here. It's also interesting to note that Frogman just continues to buff units even once they faint, which I suppose it wasn't really possible for that to happen before. Or maybe it was, but it was pretty rare. But here's a very funny glitch where there's a double KO, so the Darwin's Fox tries to hit 2 units and then kind of bugs out. Here's one that looks pretty rough when they've got the double Porcupine from the Rollaway Monkey. The Fig does take care of the Rollaway, which had Cocoa Bean, and we barely scraped the win. I think there were a bunch of games where I had like level 3 tier 5s or 6s that were being transformed over and over to try and get the units that I wanted. This looked like it was going to be a loss, but it turns into a victory. Here's one where we definitely lose, but I thought it was worth including because it's turn 9 and we face a level 3 Sunfish from Griffin. There I was using the Weasel Chocolate Cake to trigger the Darwin's Fox. Another one with a very large giant tortoise, but it only has 9 attack, so thankfully the snake did not snipe the Darwin's Fox, and the mana generation goes to waste. I think this is the same person that had the Badger earlier on. So again, the Badger gets activated even when the unit next to it is tiny on my side of the board. But because I didn't have anything inside the Beluga, it's a 1 HP loss. And then I had a few rounds against Evil Book that were quite funny. Because you can see here the Darwin's Fox actually revenge attacks before the empty front space gets triggered. And we win as a result. I mentioned in one of the longer videos the other day that I didn't have very many good clips against Nick. But here's the first one. I think we've got 3 or 4 in a row here. And not too many people playing Brahma Chicken with Unagi. I had a video about that not too long ago. It is an interesting way to make Brahma chicken work with absolutely anything. And then here's one with tiger plus painted terrapin, which is a pretty unusual choice. But I think we scraped the draw here because we had platypus inside the beluga whale. And here's start of battle, or almost start of battle. Great one, but it's a tie because of the tomato, I think. Here we do have the auto-fainting beluga with the chocolate cake, and we have behemoth inside as well. I had both behemoth and blue whale in the pack just to make sure that I had units with huge base stats that could be summoned from the blue whale, and there it results in a 1 HP scrape.